Broadcasting from the world-famous LWDL studios, this is Life with Dan and Lewis. I'm Dan.
And I am Lewis.
And we're here to talk about life and all the wonderful, magical, horrible, awful, fantastic stuff inside that four-letter word.
L-I-F-E. Life.
Before we get too far in, if you hear anything you like today, feel free to go over to buymeacoffee.com/LWDL. Your support is greatly appreciated for this little adventure we are on.
We definitely thank you for all your support.
Hey, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you also.
What's going on with you? Anything going on?
Just trying to move forward in life and getting and feeling better and that's about it. Just taking one day at a time and planning out for the future, whether it's months or years in advance or maybe just something for tomorrow.
That's good stuff.
Earlier, you and I had some chats back and forth, and I think that sometimes we lose
we get too narrowed down in on what's going on right at this very moment, and we forget that there's other things in life.
Yeah. And then sometimes it causes you to get into this funk.
Yeah.
Of, hey, like, what the hell am I here for? Like, what am I doing? But if you sometimes just look at, as what you told me when I was in my funk, look at what you just may have for the next moment, the next hour, 2 hours, or the next day. And then just allow that to give you the momentum to keep going.
Yeah, we all have something, whether it's a trip we're going on next year, whether it's a friend coming to visit next month, or whether it's, you're going to go pick up some delicious food tomorrow night for dinner. There's always something in the future to look at. We just got to remind ourselves sometimes that there's something out there.
Yeah. And it's okay. Every time you make into this like little funk or whatever.
It's okay to be in the funk too.
Yeah.
Like that's fine too. Yep.
And, sometimes you just gotta, fortunately, I have my good friend group, and, Dan and I were texting back and forth, and, he reminded me, like, have something to look forward to.
Yep.
And
definitely.
So, and if you don't, email us and we'll
give you something to look forward to. We'll find something for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what about you? Anything, what's going on with you?
A lot of the same right now. I do have a trip coming up here in just a couple of weeks. I'm going to Denver. My parents moved back to Denver a few months ago.
Nice.
I'm going to go spend a few weeks up there, do some extra remote work from there, and hang out with them. So we're doing a little bit of hard hitting on the podcast right now, getting some episodes pre-recorded, just so we have content to come out the whole time that I'm away.
Yes.
I do have the new laptop now, so it's less of a burden to be away.
Correct.
We're just working on getting the tracks laid down. I don't have to get all my editing done ahead of time, which is a big relief for me. But
so my voice sound the same in a couple episodes.
Exactly.
Just overlook that.
Little behind the scenes peek here. We're still just right off of the tail end of our sickness.
Right.
So both of our voices are not great, and we're both a little coffee still. But this is the second episode we're recording today, and our first episode was supersized. So our voices are very warm right now. So hopefully we have a little bit of less vocal frog and coughing in this episode.
Definitely.
Hey, so I was watching some while we were sick. We've been watching a lot of TV and movies.
Correct.
I watched the new Tetris movie that's out on Apple TV, and it was surprisingly good. I loved it. Yeah. Tarrington Edgington, I think is the guy's name. He played Elton John in the Elton John biopic. It was called, I can't think of what the name of the movie was.
Yeah.
But he was in it, and he played the guy that sort of found Tetris. Mm-hmm. Not the guy that invented it, because the guy that invented it is actually a Russian dude or a Soviet dude. But he found it, and he was sort of involved in the licensing and the finagling that went on. And my understanding is that it's a relatively true story, and it involves the Russian mafia.
Oh wow!
And or the Soviet mafia, because this is back in the 80s, and the U.S. government and Nintendo in Japan, and it's really quite a crazy story. I highly recommend it. Very entertaining movie.
I've definitely got to check that out.
Yeah, definitely would.
Because I'm into stuff like that when it involves like mafia and government.
It was really interesting because it's gaming. It's Tetris, right? So it's video games.
Mm-hmm.
It's retro video games.
Yes.
It's mafia and like crime and country relationships.
Oh yeah.
And it's like business. Like there's a lot of different, like, you could be into a lot of different things and find your niche in this movie.
Exactly.
It was very interesting.
I'm definitely have to check it out.
Hey, so this is the place where we would normally tell you about our sponsors, but we still don't have any. Maybe you can help us out there. Life with Dan and Lewis is actively looking for new brands, podcasts, people, and companies to partner with. If you're interested, drop us a note at lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
That's lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
We'd like to hear from you. After all, we are doing this for your entertainment. Drop us a note and let us know where you're listening from. Or if you have any ideas for new segments, things you'd like us to stop doing, do more of, less of, or anything at all, email us at lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
Once again, that email is lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
Hey, so for today's second segment, I thought we'd talk a little bit about the 5 love languages.
Ooh, interesting subject.
Yeah. So I went and took the quiz. You can all take that at 5lovelanguages.com. That's number 5, lovelanguages.com. They have a free quiz you can take. And so the 5 love languages, we have quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, and receiving gifts. So for my results, 37% quality time, 27% physical touch, 23% words of affirmation, and 10% acts of service with 3% receiving gifts. So what does that mean? That means I don't like people to give me things, do stuff for me. I tolerate it if they say words of affirmation, but my things are quality time and physical touch. So and we'll dig into all these items, but because I'm the one talking, we're going to talk about mine first. So quality time, that's something like undivided attention with a loved one. It doesn't have to be doing something. It can just be hanging out. It doesn't have to be purposeful. We could just be watching TV or running errands together or something like that. That does it for me. That's how I like to be shown that someone is interested in me and cares about me. And then my second one is physical touch, and that one, no surprise there. That's the huggy, touchy, feely, pats on the shoulder, brushes against your arm, that kind of stuff. And I'm a sucker for that. So no surprises there. What are yours?
I believe mine is acts of service.
Okay.
I don't necessarily like receiving gifts.
Sure.
Words of affirmation, I hate that.
Yeah, I think words of affirmation can get sort of an ick on them.
Yes.
If they're used inappropriately, not only in relationships, but at work. So you and I both worked at a place where we were repeatedly told we're doing a good job, even when we're getting written up or getting in trouble for something that shouldn't have been a big deal.
Exactly.
So it makes things very confusing. It makes everything feel very cheap.
Yeah.
And insincere.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time with it at work still. Even when I know now the people I work with and work for mean it, I have a hard time with it.
The same here it's like, people will be like, hey, you're doing a good job. I'm just like, it's your freaking job.
Right.
It's
like you're also kind of waiting for the hammer to drop sometimes.
Yeah,
exactly. You're doing a good job, but
you could improve in this area.
Right.
Or
but there doesn't have to be a but with it. We got conditioned to sort of expect that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Physical touch. I'm not a big touchy feely person. But my girlfriend is. She likes the physical touch. And I find myself sometime having to move beyond my feeling at the moment and just give her what she needs.
Yeah, so I guess that brings up the point about the language that someone speaks to you can be different than the language that you have to speak to that same person.
Exactly.
So, you don't like to be touched and she knows that. So when she wants to express love for you, she's going to do other things.
Exactly.
But when you want to express love towards her, it might have to be physical.
Yeah.
So there's sort of a compromise there.
So my love language is acts of service. So
right.
If I come home and she's home and I'm doing the dishes, then
and she jumps in and helps you.
Yeah.
That's speaking your language.
Yeah. If I take all the dishes out of the dishwasher, have them set up on the counter, she comes and she puts them all away while I'm loading the dishwasher. Or if I'm taking clothes out of the dryer and then she puts the clothes that are in the washer into the dryer, or helps me put the clothes that I just taken out and put them up, I like that.
Right. So to sum up your act of love, act of service, or your language of love, act of service, in one phrase, it'd be, let me do that for you.
Exactly.
That's sort of the way that someone speaks to you.
Yeah. And then so like with Alicia, hers is physical touch.
Sure.
A couple of days ago, our daughter was playing around with her and annoying Alicia. And so I was sitting on the sofa and I was watching TV. Alicia comes over and she puts her head on my thigh.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got annoyed, but then at the same time, I'm like, this is her love language.
Right.
You know? And so I let her. And, there's some times to where, like, I'll get home or finish doing something. And she tells me, just give me a hug.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, I want to move on to doing a different task.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay. But I give her that hug because in reality, that means everything to her.
Right.
In that moment. Can I spare, 10, 15, 20 seconds and like give her a genuine love hug and put my feelings aside? Yeah. And, from a relationship aspect wise, sometimes there's a lot of give and take where I'm acts of service and I'm not physical touch. She's physical touch and not acts of service.
Right.
She can be like, well, he hugged me for 5 minutes and I'm good, but I don't feel like doing dishes or I don't feel like putting up laundry.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of, I'm not going to say compromise because I feel like compromise is like in the aspect of a relationship is kind of derogatory.
Okay.
Where like,
so it's less compromise and more understanding.
Exactly. And wanting to please the other person that you're in a relationship with.
A desire to express love in the way that they need expressed love too.
She loves it when she's like doing her hair in the morning and I just come by and maybe like breathe against her butt or like, my hand.
Sure.
Or, just like gently flow my fingers through her hair.
They say it in here, they say thoughtful touches on the arm or the back.
Yeah. And there's sometimes she's like cooking in the kitchen and she likes it when I kiss her on her forehead.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm not in the mood to do it, but I recognize her in her state.
Sure.
And then I reach out and I do it. And it's not necessarily for my self-benefit, but it's more so for the benefit of making her understand that, hey, I recognize your love language. I recognize what makes you happy. Sure. Even though sometimes it may bring me some discomfort, make me go out of my comfort zone because one, I don't want to do it or I'm not in the mood to do it.
Right.
But I recognize what makes you happy and understand that these are the things that you love. So let me go ahead and do these things for you. And then sometimes, I'll give her a hug and she'll just like, thank you. I know you didn't really feel like doing it, but you did, And so it's those things. And I would encourage anybody to find out what your actual love language is. If you're in a relationship, find out what your love language is. Find out what your partner's. And right. You guys sit down and talk about it.
Yeah. 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 And I definitely think there's different aspects of this. There's how you receive love. There's how your partner receives love. So you have to learn how to give it. But I think we also have like a default way we show love. It's like my default used to be physical touch. Probably right up there with gift giving.
Yes.
I think COVID and relationships I had during that time changed the way I think about physical touch a lot. And I think recognizing that physical touch is both a way that I receive and a way I enjoy showing is important to me.
Okay.
And something that previous relationship may have blunted a little bit. I think that's come up in relationships since then, that I'm not as accustomed to physical touch as I used to be.
Okay.
So that's something that I'm aware of too. And then I am acutely aware that a way that I show my love for someone is by buying gifts. And that could be it could be anything. It's like a default way I show. And I think I need to be aware of that. I think everyone needs to be aware of that. What your default is, because sometimes your default may not match with your partner's.
Correct.
So if you're not aware of that, you're like, you could be openly expressing your love and there could be not feeling it because you're on different wavelengths, different planes, different areas.
Exactly. So, for instance, for my birthday, you made me a card.
Yeah.
And which is receiving gifts. I mean,
well, those hit a little bit different too, because I'm hand making the card, so they almost hit into that like quality time.
That's exactly where I was about to go, because I can receive a gift or not receive a gift, and I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But when I got the card, I was a little bit intoxicated at the time. But after
still a good card,
getting the card and looking at it, when I look at the amount of time and the effort that went into making the card, that's what you appreciate. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not about, if you don't like to receive gifts, that's fine.
Right.
But if somebody gets you something and handcrafts and makes you something, then it switches over into that quality time.
Yeah.
Because they put their physical time and effort into making you something. And at that very moment in time, you were the only person that was on their mind.
Yeah.
So that is more the amount of money that somebody can do something because they thought about you at that very moment in time.
Right.
And you're the only person on their mind.
Right.
So it's,
and that is my exact intent behind making cards now.
Yeah.
Is that we talked about this on here before, that we're a very materialistic society.
Correct.
And that just personally, I've said this before, 2023 is the year of the purge. We're trying to get stuff out of the house. Yes. I know everyone else almost everyone in our lives is on that same thought, has had that same thought, or needs to have that same thought.
Exactly.
So I am consciously making an effort not to buy people stuff.
Yeah.
But instead to buy them purposeful gifts.
Yeah.
Or to get them or to make them a purposeful gift. Yeah. So, a card that is specific to a situation.
Yeah.
Or a gift card to a place I know you like to go. That kind of stuff, not just buying a gift to get a gift.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't speak my love language, and it doesn't speak the way that I give a love, and it doesn't speak to the way that I want to give love anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because, somebody gives me a card, whether it's handcrafted or bought.
Right. This is not saying that buying a card isn't as thoughtful. If you sit there in the card aisle and you find that perfect card, that is just as thoughtful. Yeah. We're not putting that down.
Because I have cards that people have gotten me since I was like probably in middle elementary school.
Yeah.
Because it's the thought behind it.
Yep.
And what I do is when I want to get a card for somebody, it takes me at least 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I don't just, that's a pretty card, let me just get that one. I read a card, I inspect it. Does the word say what I wanted it to say? Mm-hmm. Or how I deeply feel about the person? Does the image of the card represent how I feel?
Right.
And when I give this card to this person, are they actually going to feel the love and generally understand their place in my life based off of how I give the card? So, receiving gifts and stuff like that is good, but put a little bit more effort and thought into the person that you're giving it to.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Okay, so I found a clip from Dulce Sloan on TikTok, and she was guest hosting The Daily Show.
Okay.
For a little bit, and they're doing a segment where the guests sort of like a Q&A session after the show. I think it was after the show. And a guest asked her an interesting question. So let's play that clip and then let's discuss it.
What would you say your biggest Hope. People don't talk about how hard hope is. To live in that place where you're like, it's going to happen tomorrow, it's going to happen tomorrow, it's going to happen tomorrow, is a very hard place for people, because sometimes it lets you go, I quit. So I've been doing stand-up since 2009, but I've been acting since I was a kid. And I've been singing since I was a kid. And I have a theater degree. But y'all know me as a comic. So now all this work that I do, and I used to do musicals, I've done children's shows, I sang, I was in an improv group, I did all of these other things, but y'all know me as a comic and a correspondent on the show. So now all of these things I did since I was 7 years old, I have to now reintroduce everybody to. But if I had lost hope and didn't start, because I started doing stand-up because somebody told me I was a comic. It wasn't something that I chose to do. I just happened to be good at something, so someone saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And so that was the biggest challenge for me, to go, okay, I have a theater degree. I've never been on stage and been myself and said my own words. So getting into stand-up was one of the hardest things for me, because I'd never been myself on stage. I knew how to perform. I knew how to find my light. I knew how to plant my feet. I knew all of the trappings. I'd done on stage 900-seat theater with no microphone and sang to the back of a room. I can perform, but not as me. So that was the hardest part of the whole process, going, okay, I have to be Dulce. I haven't done that before. So that was the hardest part into that. And also listening to my mother. Because a comic told me in 2007 that I should do stand-up, and I didn't listen to him. But I started when I was supposed to. You see what I'm saying? So you get things when you're supposed to, which is always hard to hear. But in 2009, and once again, on an unemployment, look at God, and I was taking a sketch comedy class, and I got laid off from a job, and the comic Big Kenny is like, again, come take my stand-up class. And I was like, Unc, I don't have a job. I can't afford the $300 class. And he's like, you're supposed to do this. I won't charge you for the class. And then I couldn't decide what to do, and my mother told me, because Big Kenny had been inviting us to shows for 2 years. He's like, you have to do this, you have to do this. I was like, nah, I'm good. And then my mother came up to me one day before the class started, and she said she had a dream that the whole world was laughing at me. And she didn't understand what it meant. She was like, why are people laughing at my daughter? I don't understand what's going on. What did she do? And then she said she prayed on it, and she was like, oh, my daughter's a comedian. So because of my mother, and I didn't talk about this for a long time because he used to piss comics off. When I took a stand-up class, and my mother supported my choice to do stand-up. A lot of comics don't get that feedback from their family. And so I did it, and so May 12th will be my stand-up anniversary, and if someone can do math, that's what, 14, 15 years? Thank you, gracias. I went to school in Georgia, so I don't know what you want from me. But Gwinnett County, so I did okay, but I can't. The sixes and multiplication are funky. And so yeah, on the 12th it'll be 14 years. But there were a lot of things from just like, I'm not sure. I moved to LA with suitcases. I moved here with suitcases, and now I'm moving. And it's like, so now you have to just go, I will be okay. But for me, the hardest part is hoping. Is I want to be a mother and have children, and I don't have that in my life. So the same hope that I applied to work, I now have to figure out to apply to this other thing. And that's even harder. Because I knew what to do to be successful in my career. I don't know how to hog tie some man. So, and that's when the Lord gave me my ministry of No More Broke Dick. And so yeah, the hardest part of any of this is hope, because you have to believe in you more than anybody else, and you have to love you more than anybody else.
So there's a lot to unpack there, but one thing that I picked out is pivoting without losing hope.
Yeah.
So just because you move on from something doesn't mean that the time you spent doing that something was wasted.
Exactly.
It's not, and it might not be like super obvious. Like, how is my experience working in retail security going to help me in my career in the courthouse?
Yeah.
Well, turns out I was really good at customer service. I talked to a lot of people doing retail security.
Yeah.
So, and then I go to the courthouse and no one likes to work the front counter, but I do because I get to talk to people and I get to help them in their situation.
Exactly.
So it applies these skills that I built in a different area. Not super obvious, but when you look back on it, you can sort of see how the things are starting to fit together.
Correct.
In sort of like a giant puzzle that is your life. And you can only see that in retrospect.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just have to have faith and hope that this is going to work out in the long run.
Yeah.
In the short term, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It doesn't. It's like while you're living it and while you're going through it, it doesn't make sense at all.
Right.
And sometimes you're going to run into that brick wall to where, you're going to be like looking like, I need a better job or I need to move from this aspect to this aspect. And it's just like, well, I'm made for better or I'm built for better or I have a degree for better and it's not happening.
Right.
And it's like you're applying for the jobs and nothing's happening. And you're getting things like you're overqualified or you have the good experience, but you were still looking for somebody in this aspect.
Sure.
And you're like, I can fulfill that for them if you just take the moment to just give me the chance. And then you feel like, well, then all hope is lost. No, all hope is not lost. It's just that particular thing that you're going after, it's just not for you.
And I guarantee you, down the road, looking back, it's going to make sense. We have to remember that it's not going to make sense right now.
No, it doesn't make sense right now. And in the moment,
and we have to have hope that it's not going to make sense right now, and it's going to make sense in the future. That's what hope is.
Yeah. And in the moment, you're going to hate it.
Right.
It's going to suck.
Yeah.
Because I was there. I was planning on leaving the district clerk's office in 2018, applying for jobs and getting turned down, saying I'm overqualified for the job or I have too much experience here or, I'm looking for somewhere more like this. And it gets very, you get to a point
disheartening.
Yeah, very disheartening. And you're just like, what the hell is going to ever happen with me? Like, I'm more than just where I am right now.
Right.
And I need to move beyond that, but nothing's happening for me.
Right.
And then once the door opens, you see why every other door had to close.
Yep.
Or why all the other doors never did open for you to get that one job, or you didn't get that house, or you didn't get that car, or you didn't get into that college that you want to get into. There's a reason behind that.
So true.
But don't ever lose hope, because hope is what keeps you going forward.
Yeah.
And then once the door opens, and once it opens the way that
it's supposed to
open, then you understand that, hey, this is why life had to give me shit in the end and in the beginning. So that way, once I get this prize, it makes it a lot more worth it.
Exactly. Yeah. Another thing that she talks about is dealing with polar opposites in different areas of your life. So she talks about how her career had, traveled along a path in which she was not certain about, but looking back on it, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But in her personal life, she's not sure how to fulfill the need to have a family. She's having a hard time in that area. But what she comes back to is that she has hope.
Yeah.
So you have to apply that same hope that you saw work out in one part of your life to the other part of your life.
Yeah. And
you have to have confidence in that. And that's something I struggle with. As someone who's chronically single, but yet has a great career.
Yeah.
It's odd. There's this weird, I don't feel like a failure, but in part of my life, it'd be easy to say I am failing. But I know I'm not a failure because I'm successful in the other part of my life.
Yeah.
So it's a very weird situation to be in.
Yeah. If you allow yourself to look at it from that standpoint.
Yeah.
In 2018, I was pregnant.
Yep.
And my daughter was due somewhere in between October and November. Same time, hoping and praying for a new job.
Right.
Yeah,
you had both big spheres of your life were in a point of flux.
Exactly. So, daughter's born. I remember holding her at night and crying because I'm like, the way my life is going right now, it's not the way I want it to be.
Okay.
The year is about to end. I don't have a new job. I'm not making more money. How the hell am I going to support a family of what used to be myself, now a family of four? What the hell am I going to freaking do?
Right.
The day after my daughter's born, my current boss, Judge Huff, texts me, send me your resume. I'm doing interviews, blase, blase. The next week, I return to work, which in the beginning I love. Now I'm growing to hate because my potential has grown outside of where I am.
Sure.
You know, applying for jobs, getting turned down, not getting hired. It begins to make you lose hope in your future of what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I meet with, at that point in time, elected Judge Huff, and she offers me the job. January 1st, 2019, I take the job and get a pay increase, get our own place. Now my family is moved into our own place and we're together, plus I have a new job. But it's in that moment of uncertainty, of where you don't know what's going to happen. Because she could have said, you know what? You got a good resume, but
I'm just going to go for something else. Right.
Exactly. What would have been? Loss of hope.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, just because life, and when I look back on it in retrospect, like you said before, it's just like I have to go through everything to get me to the point to where, you know what, I'm gonna go after everything I need to go after for myself and for my family to make us whole, to make us complete, and move us towards the ultimate goal and the ultimate dream. And is it hard? Hell yeah.
Right.
It's freaking hard, and it hurts like hell. Every rejection that you get, every door that closes. Sometimes it closes softly. Sometimes that fucking door is slammed in your goddamn face. But it's ultimately how you look at it and how you take it, which will determine your endpoint. Because sometimes life is going to cause you to be like, you know what? I give up.
Right.
And sometimes it's easier to give up.
But you have to maintain that hope that all things are going to work out.
You do.
At the right time, the right place, for the right reasons.
And at the right time.
Right.
And it's all about timing. My thing is, not to get too spiritual into it, my thing is I always try to look back and I'm like, you know what? If this door closes, it's just not the right door that God wants me to walk into.
Right.
And so whatever door God closes, no man can open. And whatever door God opens, no man can close.
Sure.
So whatever door that's for you to open and go into, that's going to be your door. And can't nobody stop it. Can't nobody shut it. Can't nobody prevent you from going into that. You just got to keep hold on to faith, which we both agree is hard sometimes.
Yeah. But
it's going to come.
Right.
It's going to come.
So Dulce talks about her new ministry in life being no more broke dick.
No more broke dick.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. And I think what really is she's sort of saying there is that she's taking principles that she's learned in other parts of her life and applying it to the part that she's currently, for lack of better terminology, struggling in.
Correct.
Right? So if we apply the no more broke dick principle to work, we wouldn't tolerate someone at work that was just getting by living off of us.
Yeah.
You know, someone that was constantly taking advantage of you or using you to get by easy, so that you're doing, 90% of the work and they're doing 10%, but they're getting half the credit.
Yeah.
We wouldn't tolerate that at work. So why do we tolerate that in our personal lives?
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's really what she's doing is she's taking principles, and what we're advocating for here is taking principles that you see were successful in a part of your life that you had hope that worked out. And now you're looking back in retrospect and you're like, damn, that worked out good.
Mm-hmm.
What principles can I take from that crazy path and apply to this other part of my life that isn't working out so great right now?
Yeah.
So for her, it's no more broke dick.
Yeah.
So we all need to find that thing that has worked for us in different areas and apply those to the areas that we're struggling in.
Correct.
I don't know what mine is, but I think it's similar to that. I think it's not being taken advantage of, but I think it's more not allowing myself to be in a position where I am letting someone take advantage of me.
Correct.
Or something like that. I'm not sure. That's definitely a part, it's definitely a part of my life that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that was an insightful video, and she points out some things that were thought provoking, hopefully for everyone listening.
Yeah, and for me, that the aspect of hope, air quotes, whatever you're hoping for in life, you just got to make the best of where you are right now.
Sure.
If you're single, I'm the best person I am single. And
you're right.
If there's something in my life as a single person that I need to fix, whether it's financial health,
okay,
physical health,
sure,
or whatever the case may be, now's the time to fix it.
Yeah.
So that way, when that person comes along and you do get in a relationship, you're not broke. Or you don't have to be like, you know what? I love you. And I see your goals. But, right now my credit score is 400.
Mm-hmm.
Work on yourself right now.
Yeah.
To get you to that point. If you're looking for another career, make the best of the career that you have right now. So that way, when you're gone, you know what? They can look back and be like, you know what? That was one of the best damn employees that I ever had. That happened to me when I left one job. I was told they have never had an employee like me before. You know what? And I take that to my current job. So that way, when I leave my current job at some point in time, they were like, you know what? That was the best employee I ever had.
Yeah.
And so I take that to my next job, because at some point in time, I'm going to leave that job too, whether it's to further build my career or whatever the case may be. But they're going to be like, you know what? That was one of the best damn employees I ever had. So whatever you're looking forward to, whatever you're trying to build towards to, make it the best. Make sure that you're the best version of yourself in that aspect that you can be. So that way, when you move on, go on, it's not for them. It's for you.
Right.
Because when you look back on it, you know what? I did the best that I could do.
Right.
I went over and beyond. And you know what? That made me to the better person that I am to this day. And that's going to make you to the better person that you're going to be in the future.
That's right. Anything coming up for you this week?
You know what? This week is going to be just I'm not going to say just another, but it's going to be a great, wonderful court week, and don't really have anything too particular on the schedule, but who knows what may come up. Yeah,
same here. Just another normal week. Not in a negative way, but just in a, that's life sometimes. Just regular weeks.
Yep.
And that's all right.
Yep. Looking forward to come back on the podcast and encourage some more people along the way.
Yeah, we have a few more podcasts to get recorded before my trip coming up here. But other than that, that's really what's on my horizon right now.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds about good to me. I don't have any trips or anything planned. I don't think. No, don't have any trips or anything planned. But just not gonna be like a same old type thing. But just another day, another week of encouraging people and being the best version of myself. So that's a wrap for today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. Until next week.
Follow us on all the social medias. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and TikTok at Life with Dan and Lewis.
That's at Life with Dan and Lewis on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and also TikTok.
Video episodes are now available on YouTube, along with all our previous episodes in their audio-only formats on YouTube and wherever you can find podcasts. Check them out. We hope to see you there. We'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, check out our new limited series, The Spotlight. New episodes will be coming in between weekly episodes of Life with Dan and Lewis throughout the year. Thanks for listening today. More episodes can be found anywhere podcasts are found and on our YouTube page and on our webpage at lwdl.buzzsprout.com.
That's lwdl.buzzsprout.com.
Until next time, ask yourself, what have you done today to help someone else? Make good choices.
And love one another.